is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And it is time for another edition of Mick Shots, and it's a very big edition of Mick Shots as we come to the end of the month of August. September is right around the corner, and the bewitching hour is right around the corner,
too.
The
samurai edition.
The samurai edition of Mick Shots. As we are 1 hour away from when the cuts become official. The deadline is 3 o'clock Dallas time. Bill Jones, Everson Walls, Mickey Spagnola. We will not cut the roster here. We won't be making the cuts, but we are going to stick around, at least Mickey and Everson are, past 3 o'clock.
Overtime, baby. This is it, overtime. OT
and we will bring you the cuts as they happen at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Team is off today, and it'll be a great day to get ready for Tampa Bay out there because it is hot outside.
Well, I think there was some running going on today.
Okay. Some running out there.
Some running.
Yeah.
Some running? What they running for?
Heat.
Trying to get in shape?
Yes.
Too late.
Too late?
They're on their own running,
it's too late.
Right?
Got 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's a dedicated team.
That's right.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah. That's
it's not
dedication.
Procrastination. It's
that's
dedication.
Right.
Okay.
If you had a mandatory, by the collective bargaining agreement, a mandatory 3 days off, how would you spend it?
If it's mandatory, I'd spend it off. No doubt, and I wouldn't be running.
You wouldn't be.
I wouldn't be running.
You wouldn't be jogging.
I wouldn't be jogging. No, that's what I do now. I would not be running.
Yeah. All right, but we've got a lot of reports about things that are happening behind the scenes as players are being notified of their fate. But really, what's interesting about this, and as you all know, the roster manipulation that takes place at this time, the Cowboys, for injured players that they want to bring back during the season, they've got to be on this 53-man roster, and then moves will be made to put them on the injured reserve list that would keep them out for at least 3 weeks during the regular season. And so a lot of these players who are getting quote-unquote bad news today, they could be re-signed tomorrow. There's a 16-man practice squad as well.
To another team.
And there's a lot of these players that are not out of work after today, right, Mickey?
Exactly. And there could be like 4 more out of work by Thursday because the COVID 4 are not counted on
That's right. There you go.
On the 53-man roster.
And one of who are the prominent names on that?
So you're
list?
talking Connor Williams, DeMonte KZ.
Did I see CD?
CeeDee Lamb.
He's burying the lead there.
Yeah.
My bad.
No,
sorry.
You said prominent players.
Yeah, sorry.
And now those are very significant starters.
No, and Carlos Watkins.
Yes.
So it's four starters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes.
Prominent
CD is
to
the
me
star.
meant the 4 starters, right? I was just doing it off the top of my head. So, yeah, those guys don't count. By my count, they have 6 or 7 guys that they could place on the reserve injured list 24 hours after the final cuts. So by 3 o'clock on Wednesday, they can move those guys to injured reserve. So that would allow them to bring back as many as 6 or 7 guys.
So 3 o'clock tomorrow.
3 o'clock tomorrow. You got to be on it 24 hours.
Right.
Would you care to read off your list?
Yes,
of
I think the
injured guys?
likely candidates that would move to the injured reserve, as Bill said, you have to miss at least the first 3 games of the season. We can start with Neville Gallimore with the dislocated elbow. Sean McEwen, the tight end, he's your 3rd tight end. So we'll see what happens after that. Josh Ball, their 4th-round draft choice, had a high ankle sprain. He's just getting back on the cord, so they can create a spot there by putting him on returnable IR. Kelvin Joseph had a groin injury on Sunday. I think he's a candidate for that. I saw Malik Turner's name come up. He had a foot injury that he was nursing. And then someone that I'm sure everybody's not thinking about, Francis Bernard. They really like the linebacker. As he's a second-year guy, a special teams guy. He's been out with a hamstring, and my understanding is he re-injured in a different spot on that same hamstring.
Okay.
So he's not ready.
Must be a muscular hamstring.
And then Terrell Basham has not practiced in 3 weeks, maybe, Bill. I think it happened early in training camp. I think his was a hamstring. No, maybe it was a sprained knee.
I forgot all about him.
I forgot which. But anyway, he would be a candidate.
They spent more money on him in free agency than in Keanu Neal maybe.
Well,
there was a 2-year deal for Basham.
And Neal's was basically a 2-year deal, but it was really structured as one.
So, in other words, they have plans for Basham.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, so you could see those guys make the initial roster, and then 24 hours later, you let them get onto injured reserve return, and then you can bring back some guys you had to cut. Now, the key thing is releasing guys that are vested veterans. So you got to have 4 years in the league because those guys don't have to go through waivers. So I'm going to give you one example. Okay. I don't know if it's going to happen with him or not, but the safety, Darian Thompson, who had been in the game starting because of the COVID and injuries
and playing
at
pretty
safety,
well.
And he's a special teams guy.
Yeah.
So he's a guy that you could tell, okay, we're letting you go, and you're on a 1-year deal. Unless somebody comes to you and gives you a sweetheart deal, we want you back. So check with us before you go, because he doesn't have to go through waivers.
And we want you back for
probably the same contract.
Okay, and he's going to play, not practice field.
No, not
practice
squad. Yeah. We'll put you on the 53.
There you go.
And so
he was having a decent
if
training
you
camp.
remember that they did that with Kellen Moore. 2017, maybe it was. They released him.
He got hurt in 2016.
So 2017, they released him and then told him, "You're the backup guy. We're bringing you back."
Then they made him the offensive coordinator.
And then they made him the offensive coordinator for his loyalty, right? And so he didn't go anywhere. And so if you know you've got 1-year guys. And see, you don't want to do it with a guy that has 2 years, because if he has any signing bonus, as soon as you release him, the second year goes due into this year's cap. So 1-year guys. So if you see some 1-year guys, and I saw some guys that were vested that they could go through this. I mentioned Darian Thompson. It could happen with Maurice Kennedy. He was on his last year. Malik Hooker, you could. I know they want him on the team. And he's only on a 1-year deal. And then the tight end, Jeremy Sprinkle, he's a vested veteran, and he's on a 1-year deal. So you could say, okay, when we put McKeenan on, you come back. Now, somebody could come to these guys and give them a better deal, and you go, okay, we took the shot, but we were trying to save a roster spot. So those guys.
I was just looking at some. What about Eugene, that tight end? Is he still on the
Eubanks.
squad? Eubanks.
Nick Eubanks.
Yes.
Nick Eubanks.
He's still here, but he has to go through waivers.
Okay.
So he's getting released.
Okay.
I think.
Just had a couple of plays in the game. That's all. I was just interested in
number 47.
What they thought about him. Yeah.
So and then you got two guys that'll end up staying on PUP, which would be Tristan Hill and Chauncey Golston. So that means they cannot play or practice for the first 6 weeks.
Okay.
And they thought they were that far behind. So you can do all that kind of stuff. And the guys that they supposedly are, being reported that they've released already, and we can go over them after I do the whole thing. Ben DiNucci, Garrett Gilbert, Jaquan Hardy, Brendan Knox, Brendan Smith, Johnny Dixon, Osiris Mitchell, Eric Smith, Braylon Jones, Rondell Carter, Austin Fallu, Thompson, and Tyler Coyle. So those were the names that have come out so far.
Did you mention Stephen Parker on that list?
And Stephen Parker, sorry. And Deontay Burton, by the way.
Yeah, that's the one. I figured that.
So Eubanks is actually not on there yet. We'll see what happens there. Neither is Nick Ralston, who, if they've only got two running backs probably, so he could be considered the third/special teams player.
The fullback.
Nick Ralston, the fullback from
So
Argyle.
you wouldn't think Knox would be one of those guys?
They could bring him back on the practice squad.
Or Hardy on the back.
Hardy, yeah.
Which one you like best, Knox or Hardy?
I like Hardy.
Yeah, I think I like Hardy.
Do you? I like the way
and
Knox runs the ball.
He had a pretty good game.
Yes, he did.
Now it's a matter of who can do some special team stuff. And so yeah, there's a lot to consider. And then in 24 hours, you have the ability to put 16 guys on your practice squad. And remember, I think there might be a 4-man limit on veterans that you can put on that practice squad now. It doesn't matter how many years. So like Darian Thompson could come back and they put him on the practice squad. If they want to continue the backup quarterback competition, Garrett Gilbert could come back and be placed on the practice squad.
That's where he was when they found him last year.
And
on Cleveland's practice
where
squad.
he's been previously, right? And then if you really like him, you could protect the guys like they did last year with Cooper Rush. I think he got protected like 4 or 5 times.
God, quarterbacks have it so nice, man.
Well, you could
can
protect
suck and
you could
just still
protect
be
you could protect a cornerback.
You can, but you don't. That's just the way. I don't think
if the
Burgess going to be
if the cornerback's
protected.
good, if the cornerback's good, he's on your roster.
Exactly.
Right?
You're not going to cut him and then
you
bring him
ain't
back.
playing
right.
any games with that.
One other guy and Chris Beam pointed it out to me that we have not mentioned for you Texas Tech fans out there, TJ Vasher, who has not worked out. He's been on NFI.
That's right.
So he will start the season on NFI.
Yeah, exactly.
In all likelihood. So
there's still a lot of things going to happen in the next 24 hours, basically.
Yep. All right, so the quarterback. You want to start with the backup quarterback?
Probably should start there.
Okay, so reports are that Gilbert and DiNucci will be let go, and is basically confirmed by Jerry Jones this morning on his radio show.
Yes.
That Cooper Rush is, I'm not quoting Jerry here, but I will say, for now, Cooper Rush is the backup quarterback.
And he said because he has shown he can run the complete offense, all the things that make for a real comfortable situation here. So that was kind of
comfortable.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Because
I don't know if that's the word I would use.
Well, I think what he was trying to point out is he's been here. He knows the offense. He's been, I think everybody forgets for 2.5 years he was the backup quarterback since his rookie year, and he took over for Kellen Moore, and then the next 2 before they let him go last year, and then brought him back on the practice squad.
Let's call it lesser of the evils. Can we do that? Instead of comfortable.
And the other thing to consider on it, I mean, obviously, and unless you have I'm trying to think of any quarterback out there that might be with another team who's has experience in this system.
Cam Newton.
Yes.
The other thing is, Cooper Rush has been here starting last year. I mean, he was here before obviously Dak's backup prior to McCarthy becoming the head coach, and Kellen Moore calling plays last year. And he comes back last year after the Cowboys let him go when they signed Andy Dalton. And when you look at other quarterbacks out there, even if there's one that you like out there that you want to sign, is he ready to step in if needed at Tampa Bay next week? You got to have someone who's been in the system throughout this offseason and preseason.
Because otherwise you're starting from scratch.
Right.
And I don't want to hear this stuff when they bring in a quarterback and it's like, well, he wasn't here. When they brought in the New England guy that year when Romo got hurt.
Brady?
2015, Bill. 2015, they brought in the veteran guy.
Matt Castle.
Matt Castle.
Yep.
And he got here and he stunk.
Yes, he did.
He was done.
Yeah.
But they kept saying, well, he's new to the system. It's like, that's a euphemism for he's not playing.
But what I'm saying, if there's someone they like out there, it might take them a month to get acclimated or to learn the system and the plays and so forth.
Put him on the practice squad.
Or you could, if you have room on if you really like him and you need to put him on the 53, then there's a spot there, and Cooper can be the backup for now. And then as you groom this guy, whoever it is that you like,
and you
as
could
he
bring
learns
back
the
both.
playbook.
You could bring back both guys on the practice squad, Gilbert and DiNucci. And again,
Yeah, not feeling that.
Look, the second half.
Not feeling that at all.
The second half, he showed that
Let's
if
just
you
bring
could
all
keep,
the quarterbacks
you
back
could
from
bring,
2 years
you
ago.
could work with him.
Matt Castle included.
And I know when he gets into games, there were times he didn't look good, but there were other times he threw some nice passes. So you got 16 guys in the practice squad, so it doesn't hurt to have 2 quarterbacks there. They probably should put a punter or kicker on there.
Definitely.
Right?
I think every team in the league needs to have someone who can kick or punt, or preferably both, on the practice squad because of the COVID situation.
So remind me, did somebody pick up Nicewander?
He got
Not
placed
yet.
on injured reserve, didn't he?
Nicewander did?
Yeah.
No, the Cowboys did.
Right.
Oh, I
The
forgot
Cowboys-
about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
He's done.
Right.
Yeah.
You got too many guys that you're keeping up with.
I
here.
know. Well, there's 90.
I gotta say, we saw a defensive back that made the best kickoff I've ever seen by someone that wasn't a kicker. Did you see that in the Texans game?
Jeff
I did.
Heath?
That wasn't Heath.
You're talking
He was a little darker than Heath was, I
the
believe.
Texans
The
Bucks game?
Houston Texans
This weekend?
have a defensive back that can boot it. I think he was number 20 for the Texans. I mean, I think it was almost all the way to the goal line. So it wasn't like it's something that he was just trying out. You can tell that this guy has had some type of kicking in his background.
I knew I shouldn't have thrown that.
I know. I'm just looking for my flip card from last week's Texans game. I believe John Reed was number 20 for them, and they they traded him away, I think.
Recently?
Yeah,
Obviously recently.
I got to look it up.
Yeah.
I got to look it up now.
No, he was that was
Like in
amazing.
the last few days.
But you're right. Quarterbacks, yes.
It was
important
Justin Reed who did
position. Important position, but also
Justin Reed.
kickers just
Yeah.
as important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And punters just as important as field goal kickers.
So a lot goes into this thing.
Yeah,
And
Justin Reed is number 20. John Reed was number 34.
Okay.
I think they traded to Seattle or someplace. But yeah, I'm watching it right now.
He booted it, man.
Justin Reed, who's a pretty good player too. He did.
He was on Hard Knocks, right?
Down
Was
to
he
the
one of the guys
kickoff.
who were highlighted on Hard Knocks?
for Houston?
Yeah, I think he was a highlight on Hard Knocks. They showed his family, great family. For some reason, I think he's from Stanford.
He's Stanford.
That's
yes.
what I thought. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a great.
I believe
great
it's
story.
Eric Reed's brother, I think. So
have you seen a quarterback out there that you say, oh,
You know
let's
what?
bring him in?
Well, there's one as a developmental guy that I really like, and that's Shane Buechele. And he played well for Kansas
Did
City.
he get released?
I have heard reports that it looks like he might be released, but I'm sure that they have plans to try to
Put him
sign
on
him
the
to their practice squad, and
squad.
probably told him that. So anyway, of course, Shane Buechele from here, Arlington Lamar High School, then started his college career at Texas and then at SMU, and I don't know. I thought he looked good the other day for
He
Kansas
did.
City.
So who's their backup?
Chad Henne is a veteran. Chad
Okay.
Henne is there. So
But I haven't seen anything. You know, somebody brought up to me on Twitter Josh Rosen, and I said, "Oh, the guy that's on his 5th team in 4 years." Everybody can't be wrong about him, right?
First round draft pick.
I know.
I mean, he was the man coming out. They talked about his intellect. They talked about his leadership, his confidence that he has in himself. And that just didn't do anything for him.
He can't stick. The other guy I noticed, Carolina released Will Greer. He was a third-round pick 2 years ago, I believe it was.
out of where? West Virginia.
West Virginia.
That's right.
Yes.
What about Hoyer?
No, he's still
stuck
with the
And that
Patriots.
brings us to, once again, Mickey buries the lead here. What did the Patriots do today? They cut Cam Newton.
Shocking.
Shocking.
Was it shocking?
No,
I don't think it was.
Not to me.
Okay.
No, to me.
If you've been watching what's been going on there.
The only
And-
good thing I can say about that is Cam actually had a decent preseason. I mean, when I say decent, but Mac Jones, his was even better.
He got beat out, and
He got
they
beat out
didn't,
fairly.
and they didn't keep him as the backup. By the way,
Well, if you looked at their depth chart with not only Mac Jones, Cam Newton, and then with Brian Hoyer, the veteran, and Jared Stidham, it was obvious that if Cam was not the starter, Hoyer is going to be the backup, or Stidham. But Hoyer is your veteran backup guy. They've always liked him.
and his base salary wasn't unreasonable. It was $3.5 million. You would pay that for a veteran backup quarterback. But the key thing was he had $14 million in incentives that he could earn for various reasons. And I think they probably saw that and go, okay, now that would be a little pricey, even if he helped us win a few games.
That'd be kind of tough for that young quarterback this kind of. I still don't think they have enough offensive talent to help him as a young rookie quarterback. The defense is stacked again. But
they got players back now this year.
A lot of them opted out from last year. They're back. A couple of them opted out.
Or they reacquired them. They were playing for the Dolphins last year, and now they're back with the Patriots.
Well, they did leave Gilmore on PUP.
Right, he's on PUP to start the season.
He's going to miss 6. I think the other reason is you don't want that guy in your locker room. He wants to be a starter, right? Now he's not. He may not be as good a teammate as we've seen him running down the field, patting Jones on the back.
That was a little over the top. That was a little over the top.
Right. And the other thing is I read some comments from it was the running back, White, is that?
James White.
James White. And he was talking about how he said that Mac Jones got better and better and better, and when he got into the huddle, he convinced the other guys in that huddle that he was the guy. And so when I started reading that, and the captain said that, it's like, you wouldn't have said it if you didn't believe it, right?
Right.
If it was Hogaboom or Danny White, right?
Hey, I said what I said about Hogaboom. I'm on the record, dagnabbit.
Remind us.
I was the leader. Yes, I was the leader of the quarterback controversy.
Remind us what you said.
1984. I just thought Hogaboom was a better player than Danny White. I thought he inspired us more. And that simply came from the fact that Danny was having some issues. I believe that was in 1983 when he had the issues. And he just couldn't get us over the hump. And you could blame a lot of people for us not getting over the hump. There's no doubt, including myself, in regards to getting through the championship games. But, man, when you look at the way Hogaboom came into that Washington Redskins game, and that's what they were at that time, I mean, you couldn't help but be inspired and be uninspired by Danny White's performance at that time.
And then by halfway through the season, he proved that he wasn't a starting quarterback.
He was the backup that he should have been.
Yeah. Which happens with a lot of backup quarterbacks, right? As long as they don't have to play, they're really good backups.
That's right.
To review 1984, when it was probably, what would it be now, 37 years ago, maybe even 37 years ago today, Tom Landry made the announcement that Posderick would start at quarterback.
So you want to hear?
Remember that?
You want to hear?
He hated this moment. The thing before you say so, the thing about this with Tom Landry, he hated giving up the power, so to speak. The fact that we made this decision for him, that flies in the face of any head coach, especially one with the kind of pride that Tom Landry had. And I think, and this is just the way it is, and I'm telling you this is the way coaches are all over the world. I don't care if it's soccer, whatever. They're not going to help the quarterback that he didn't choose.
Right.
And as far as I'm concerned, coaches, I don't say throw games. They don't throw games. But they're not going to lift too many fingers if this is your guy. And I'm trying to prove to you that my team doesn't run this team. My players don't run this team. I run this team. So you want Hogaboom? Go ahead. I'm throwing him to the Wolves. So that's what he did. He threw him to the Wolves.
It was Posderick, and there was there was a position battle of one of the tackle spots. I can't remember if it was right tackle or left tackle for Posderick.
Right.
But and so then not Posderick, Hoganblum.
Hoganblum. He called him that too. Yeah.
So August 31st, right?
Yes.
So the day they made that announcement was the day I came to Dallas for my interview at the Dallas Times-Herald.
Wow.
And I'm sitting in the newsroom, and the sports editor comes up to me, and we were supposed to have an interview at, say, 10 o'clock in the morning. He come up to me, he goes, "Hey, I apologize. Our special edition for the season is coming out today, and the cover story was on Danny White, and we're going to have to change it. So hopefully, I can get back to you in probably an hour or two. You have to wait on your interview, right?" And he said, "Yeah, and I was interviewing for the backup job on the Cowboys, and they couldn't find the beat writer." And so I'm sitting there going, okay, unless I call this guy an SOB, I'm probably going to get this job.
It's all working out, just the way you planned it.
So you were the backup quarterback then. You were interviewing for the backup quarterback job with the Dallas Times-Herald.
The backup beat writer.
That's right.
Yeah, sorry.
That's right.
Yeah.
You were on the waiver wire at that point, and they were about to pick you up.
My guy had to get taken off the front page of the season preview magazine.
But anyway, we'll see what happens. So right now, Cooper Rush is your backup quarterback, and we'll see what's out there and see if there's anything that intrigues this coaching staff as far as another quarterback that they might bring into the mix, whether it be on the practice squad or the 53.
Yeah, and someone also, and I thought it was a good tweet, they suggested, well, why don't the Cowboys give the Bears a 6 for Nick Foles? Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's not a bad idea. His base salary is only $4 million, but he too has a bunch of incentives.
What do you call that?
No, incentives. But he has, for the Bears to do that, they would incur $14 million in dead money immediately, and so you would have to give them more than a sixth to convince them to take on that amount of dead money over this year and next year. Mm-hmm. And you know, who knows? The cheaper move is to let Dalton go, but they've named him the starter.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't even hardly see Dalton play in the preseason. Everything was about Fields and how well he played.
Right.
Well,
And I
they
bet
held
at
him
some
out.
point he's the starter, right?
Yeah.
Fields will be at some point, but
Fields will be the starter at some point.
At some point. But as Dalton said in his press conference, the Bears told him it is his time.
He got work to
now.
do. He got work to do.
That's right. That's right. Wanda Bull on Twitter does ask about Cam Newton, released. Excellent number 2 pickup for Cowboys. Would you like to respond to that, Mickey?
Number 1, I think another reason they let him go was his unvaccinated status and then the complications that incurred. Do you want your backup quarterback not vaccinated? I'm not saying that anybody would ever admit that, but it's got to go through your mind.
Whether they admit it or not, we know it. You just don't want that headache unless he's going to be somebody out there that you don't really count on. You know, I mean, he has to have amazing talent. And right now, Cam Newton does not have that. You know, so like you said, they wouldn't admit it. But there's no doubt about it. You don't want to bring that headache in because you got enough problems going on around the whole NFL right now in regards to these testing and vaccinations.
And just in the locker room, is he comfortable being the backup? And you know what happens from a social media fan standpoint the minute Dak throws 2 interceptions in one game. Well, we got to start Cam Newton.
Well, that was the same reason would be in New England as well.
Right.
When the rookie throws a couple of interceptions, they don't want Cam breathing down his neck or looking over his shoulder, which, you know, he probably wouldn't be. I think he's smart enough as a veteran to know how to handle himself. It wouldn't be up to him. Everyone else, all the speculation alone would drive everything, and that's not what you want.
And I think when you start a young guy like that, you got to convince him we're all in on you. There's no turning back. Mm-hmm. Because if you start doing that,
that's why he was let go.
Right.
That's why he was let go.
So now, do you want to bring that here?
I don't think it's the same in regards to Dak, though.
Right.
I really don't, because Dak being the veteran that he is, but. Cam is just one of those guys. His presence in the locker room is a distraction alone. Cut your hair.
Or if you were advising Cam Newton, aside from the vaccination part of it, but if you were advising him right now on what he should do, let's say a team was interested in him being a backup quarterback, would it be better on his part to take on that role, or wait until there's an injury in the league and then a team might bring him in and they would craft their offense around his talents in particular?
I would have to have him in early. If I'm going to use him, he's got to come in and learn the system.
It's a long season. I'm talking.
And if I'm consulting him, I'm going to have him do an entire makeover, because it's not his fault.
Well, he's been in this position before. I mean, that's how he got into New England.
That's why you got to change your whole outlook, your whole not just how you think, but just basically how you carry yourself. And that's just the way it is with Cam. It's a shame that that's the way it is, but he's such a big presence. He carries such a resume with him. Let's just think about that, going all the way back to college, high school. So when he steps into the locker room, that presence alone,
that charismatic presence that he has.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's nothing negative. Like you said,
Right.
It's charismatic, and he brings all of that with him. It's not baggage. That's a great resume that he brings. I think he could. I think Dak and he would probably get along here well, but him learning the system alone, can he resurge that talent? That I don't know. His preseason was good though. Had good preseason games. They kept him in, within himself. He might already be making that transformation.
I just think if he had just with some patience right now, I mean, if he had an offer right now, I mean, let's say Urban Meyer in Jacksonville, who had him in college, I believe, at Florida.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would just, let me wait a little bit and let me see. Let's let a couple of weeks go by and let's see if there's any injuries or something.
You don't want Lawrence with Cam in the locker room, do you?
Yeah.
Lawrence. You don't want Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, yeah. I just threw out a team.
I was just thinking, though, having Lawrence, that's almost the same position that he just left.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially after the way he played on Sunday.
Yes. Well,
that was
against
pretty.
us.
I know, but it was still pretty impressive. He was dropping dimes.
Sean Payton's got his quarterbacks, right? With Jameis and Taysom Hill there.
Oh no, they.
No, I'm just thinking in general.
He just said.
I'm thinking in general on a team that might be interested in Cam.
It got pointed out who their backup was going to be because they look at Hill as part of the offense.
Right.
So they had. Oh gosh, I can't think of who it is. I just read it. That this guy was going to be considered. Well, he's been around a little bit. Yeah, he was going to be their backup quarterback.
Well, they've got a rookie, Ian Book from Notre Dame.
I don't think that was the name I saw.
Trevor Siemian?
Yeah, Trevor Siemian was going to be the backup because they're going to consider
and Simeon's
Hill
been around
part
a
of
little
their
bit.
offense.
Right.
Yeah. There will be a role for Hill.
Yeah, Hill wasn't, whether he made the starting quarterback job or not, he's going to be part of the offense.
So speaking,
they've paid him to be a part of the offense.
Yes. Speaking of the Saints, looks like they're here for a couple of days.
That's right.
Maybe longer.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we get Sean Payton in here. That's your buddy, right?
Yeah, I get him in here.
Yeah,
we could get McCarthy in here
right.
last time. We get Sean Payton over here.
So it sounds like they're going to practice here for 4 weeks.
Is that what it is now?
Yeah, they're not going home.
Because they can't go back.
Right.
They're not going home.
And
so now the question will be their season opener. They open against Green Bay at home, and is AT&T Stadium an option for that game?
Well,
Cowboys obviously are not playing that weekend. They play on Thursday.
I hear they have a concert on Wednesday that might conflict with having a game on Sunday. So
the following Wednesday, they got to set up for it.
So they got to set up. But I saw who the concert was. Los Bucas, Bukis. This is their first tour in 25 years. I'm thinking if somebody asked Jerry about it, it's like we'll get set up in 24 hours, right? If we can give them the stadium for that opener.
Somebody I've never
But there was
heard
an
of.
assumption that was the band that was going to keep them because they said that the chances were with the outdoor facilities at SMU and TCU that they could use that as their practice facility just because so many things go on.
Why can't they just go back to Lambeau Field?
No.
They're playing Green Bay, you said?
But it's a home game.
Oh,
for
yeah.
them.
They don't want to give up the home field advantage.
Okay.
I mean, they don't want to have the Packers have a home field advantage.
I mean, they had to do that back during Katrina.
They didn't ask Grambling about that when we had to go to Boise State and play in the snow.
Well,
they don't give a crap. Come on.
During Katrina, their opener was against the
National Championship. Come on.
Their opener was against the Giants, and they had to play a home game at Giants Stadium.
Yeah.
All right, we need to take a break. Okay, we're going to take a break, and there's much more to get to as we are now 27 minutes away from Mickey reading off the Cowboys cuts for you here on Mick Shots.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
It's game day. You know what that means. First, kebab prep. Steak, pepper, onion, steak, pepper, onion. Next, a counterclockwise lap around the room. Now the lucky grease-stained jersey goes on. And lastly, the dance. You know the one. This is a game day ritual no matter where you are. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com and keep the tradition alive and well. Hotels.com, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Mick Shots.
Check out the new Miller Lighthouse located on the west side of AT&T Stadium, where Dallas Cowboys game day traditions are born. Enjoy $5 12-ounce beers, yard games, the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader performances, and more. For more information, visit attstadium.com/Miller Lighthouse. Miller Lighthouse, your tailgate just got jealous.
I like that line.
There is a
good line.
a quarterback who used to play for Mike McCarthy getting released by the Colts, Brett Hundley. Now, he was available just a few weeks ago. The Cowboys could have picked him up a few weeks ago.
Well, no, they could
they
have picked him up in May when they worked him out and decided not to.
So there's another one there. And as far as Trevor Siemian, the Saints are reportedly releasing him, but do plan to re-sign him. So he would be out there. There have been some teams that have had some interest in Trevor Siemian in the past. Could it be a bidding war?
For Trevor Siemian,
I doubt it.
All right, some news from the NFL Network. The Cowboys-Jags game on Sunday was the most watched NFL preseason game on the NFL Network since 2018.
You think that had something to do with Trevor Lawrence?
I think so.
I think so.
Nothing to do with the Cowboys.
It had something to do with who was broadcasting the game.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
it was the playmaker.
Shame
Michael
on
Irvin.
me, right?
It was the playmaker in his audience. That's
it was
why
Bill Jones,
that's
man.
Bill Jones,
it was Bill
right?
Jones.
That's why Stephen A. Smith wants the playmaker alongside him on ESPN. Anyway. And so what that tells you, that was the first time in the Jerry Jones era that the Cowboys have played a Sunday afternoon preseason game. What that tells you, get ready. If we're going to keep playing these preseason games, the NFL Network's going to want more Sunday afternoon preseason games.
You have no competition?
Well, didn't they have a Sunday night game?
Well, they had a triple-header, I believe.
Yeah.
They had.
But Sunday at noon, I mean, when you got nothing else to do,
Sunday at noon.
Just got back from church.
Well, there's a reason that it's so successful also during the fall. Also, why would noon in August on a Sunday be any different than noon in September?
That's why I used to say blame the quiet crowds at Texas Stadium when they play a noon game on Sunday. It's like, well, these people just came from church to here and they're not fired up.
No, they hadn't had a drink yet.
Yeah, right.
But when you think about it, Hard Knocks, Trevor Lawrence, Jerry's World, all of that kind of came into play for the NFL Network. Michael Irvin, of course.
But what's interesting about it, not only on Sunday, but all of the preseason games, You do not see the starters are not in the game. These are guys that are getting cut today, okay, that are playing, and the ratings do not drop during the course of the game. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. And so to that point, the quote unquote America's team, people are watching the uniforms.
It still stands.
You know? That's right.
Still stands. And what I liked about it was, just the fact that I saw what Cooper Rush was trying to do against a Jags almost first-team defense.
It was pretty much. Now, the only thing, defense? Jacksonville, their offense, they have some injuries on their offensive line, and their starting right guard, A.J. Ken, is in COVID protocol. And so Lawrence was playing behind primarily a second-team offensive line. But as far as what the Cowboys offense was going up against, that was basically – and Miles Jack, who Urban Meyer during the week had said, I think he's maybe game ready already for the regular season. He was still in the game in the second quarter.
We talked about how we didn't even think he was going to play.
Right.
Yeah. Right. All of a sudden, he's out there on the field. So they really wanted to show what they could do because, of course, this is almost like Jimmy Johnson back in 1989. You have to see what you have as a coach. I don't care what the veterans are. Guys, you have to show me something because I just got here. Okay, I'm Urban Meyer. I just got here. I got to know what you can do. You have to allow me to trust you first before I can give you any type of leeway.
And as we found out, that was all a mirage.
What was that?
89 preseason.
Right. No. That was fun, though.
Yeah.
We were undefeated. Were we undefeated?
3-1.
3-1.
I scored a touchdown. Boy, that was amazing.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was like a 72-yard return for a touchdown, I think, against the Chargers or somebody.
Beat Houston for the
Governor's Cup. I remember all of that. Yeah.
Beat Houston for the Governor's Cup in the fourth preseason game.
Then we go to New
Orleans.
On
a walk-off field goal.
Yep. Then we go to New Orleans
and reality,
we get shut out. Did we score a point?
28-0. Wow. I don't even think he had maybe 150 yards offense.
Yeah. I think Jimmy got mad at us that day.
Troy Aikman should have got mad at the offensive line. He
it was
got
horrible.
The snot knocked out of him.
But you got to know. That's all we had. Yeah. That's all we had. You had to know.
Okay, Mickey, who's the backup center on this team?
Well, if they had to play today and Connor Williams wasn't off the COVID list, it would be Matt Forniak.
Okay. Did you like him the other night?
I think they're going to keep him. I think they have to.
He played well.
7th-round draft pick out of Nebraska. Yeah. I thought he did, too.
I thought he did. I mean, the whole line was having some issues, of course. That's a front D-line. So.
He's a big guy, Forniak is.
Yeah. And, he has just a little more experience at center than Matt or Connor Williams. Because I think he started one game for Nebraska at center.
That's all you need.
He'd been a guard and a tackle, and immediately when they drafted him, they said he's a center. So he's been working there since late April, May.
So how about a shout out for the NFL, I guess, international program that they have? What about I think his name is Allergon?
Yep, Alarcon.
He'll be on the practice squad.
He'll be on the practice squad.
Yeah.
He came in trying to do some work, too.
You know what? He got better. He got stronger. And he had a nice story for Hard Knocks, which, by the way, episode 4 is tonight, 9 o'clock Central.
Have you gotten any preview of tonight?
There is one out there, and I hadn't looked at it.
I think there's something about a Micah Parsons barbecue.
Oh, okay. Because I think when he got here, somebody asked him about barbecue. I can't remember what it was. Oh, no, it was Bohanna, because I think his parents in Memphis have a barbecue place.
There you go.
So they're from Memphis, of course.
Yeah, from Memphis. So, yeah. Memphis barbecue or Texas barbecue.
Okay. So as we look ahead to the team getting back on the practice field on Thursday
and Friday,
and where this team is right now as we await the cuts coming down at 3 o'clock, how do you feel about things right now?
Well, if they get everybody back off COVID, I feel pretty good. Look,
how about from this standpoint? All right, Tampa Bay In their last preseason game, Brady was in for 2 series, 2 scoring drives. He was 11 out of 14. Starters were in the game. By necessity, the Cowboys weren't able to play their starting quarterback, of course, in the preseason, and thus their first-teamers didn't play. Now, and also, the Cowboys had a different preseason schedule than what other teams outside of the Steelers, well, than all other teams, really, because with the 4 preseason games and then the quicker turnaround, 11 days from August 29th to September 9th. The second guess is going to happen. Okay,
so here's my deal.
On Thursday night, September 9th, if things do not go well for the Cowboys, then there's going to be the second guessers out there. Well, they should have played played them.
So they have 5 practices between now and leaving for Tampa, right? So I think these 5 practices are going to be significantly important for the offense to get everybody in there together, because they hadn't had a chance to take a snap in a preseason game all together, meaning Dak, the offensive line,
Zeke,
the wide receivers, Zeke. Yeah, exactly. So I've said this before on Dak. It's like we're going to find out if the old axiom practice makes perfect, right? Well, they're going to need this practice to be perfect come September 9th. And then my other reservation is I think this defense is better. I think it's improved. I think it improved with personnel. I think it's improved with Dan Quinn and how he's coaching it and where he's playing people. But we don't know.
Michael Irvin said, and Bill was there when Michael Irvin repeated this, Tom Brady said he is going to rip us apart.
That's what at the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Were those the words?
At the Hall of Fame ceremony, in case you missed it on the broadcast, Michael said that Tom Brady came up to me and said, "We're going to rip your guys apart," or whatever. Yeah.
And after what I saw last year, I would believe the same thing if I was Tom Brady.
And then we asked Michael, "What do you say back to him?" And he said, "I can't say what I said back."
Well, that's about all he would have.
But that's
all the response he would have.
But Brady was jacking with him, right?
But Brady's
to get
also,
a rise out of
no. Trust me. In Brady's head,
he thinks that.
Oh,
absolutely.
Well, and that was what Michael's point was. He's competitive. I mean,
he's not just competitive. Yeah. He's not blind either, because he saw our defense from last year. He has to go on that. That's all he can go on. He doesn't see any improvement in this team now, personnel-wise, maybe. But have we had enough time to prepare for Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this offseason?
You know why Michael's saying that on the Cowboys broadcast. He's hoping that these Cowboys players hear that, and that will be some extra motivation.
I heard it, and I don't even play anymore, so I'm sure they heard it.
What effect did that have on you if you were a
little
player?
Upset. I'm upset now.
I mean, Michael is the one that gets up on that big screen and right before kickoff, and he's the one that gives the pregame speech every week.
It.
So
that's not a speech. I don't know what to call that. That's a Baldwin moment.
And then the other thing we have to point out is after the Tampa Bay game, they have 16 more games, right?
That's my point.
When did they schedule that?
Yeah, this defense.
That was my point this morning.
And Quinn's last time he spoke with us, Quinn's point was, September 9th's not an end date.
It is.
We need to continue getting better and better and better as the season goes along. So this is going to be the first time, too, they get all those guys together in several weeks, because KZ's been on the COVID list. Carlos Watkins been on the COVID list.
Go up and down the line, Spags.
And so we'll see how this thing, kind of.
They haven't had defensively. We haven't had much time together either.
And the one thing I don't like that's happened going into this game is Neville Gallimore is not going to play for at least 3 weeks, because he was balling out in the middle there, and now you're probably replacing him with a rookie, Odigizua.
Who I like.
And
I'm sure you like
him.
I'm sure you like him.
But again, it's a rookie going up against a veteran offensive line. And then they can rotate in another rookie, Bohanna. I bet they use a lot of Brett Urban, because at least he's a veteran. He's been around. And Justin Hamilton's actually kind of showed up in some of these games, too.
The other thing is,
but the key will be those defensive ends. Can Randy Gregory do what we think he can do?
And the key will be their defensive ends as well.
Right.
How well does Tyron Smith hold up against JPP. Right? I mean, he's played very well last year. If you look at the Tampa Bay's season last year, they were a little shady starting off.
They made their push, if I remember correctly, around game 9 or 10,
and all of a
something
sudden,
like that.
The defense gave the offense chance to catch up. And we don't have that luxury. That's the only thing that makes me nervous. I don't mind going up against their defense. I'm worried about how well our defense plays against their offense. That's the one. That's the key.
And here's the other thing is we have no idea how Dan Quinn is going to use the Cowboys defensive ends in the nickel package, as far as and how he uses Micah Parsons.
That's what I was going to say.
In the nickel. I mean, when you got guys that and that's one of the benefits, I think, of not playing your guys really during the preseason. Tampa Bay has no way of knowing exactly how Quinn is going to use. Is DeMarcus Lawrence? Is he going to at times rush from the inside? Will they move him around? Will they have 4 defensive ends on the field?
Has Quinn ever had a player like Parsons? I'm sure they'll go back in his history and see if he's had any player with that type of impact. And they say, well, how did he use that particular player? That's going to be how he used Parsons. So if they've got some type of a history on a player that was in the same stead that you have as Parsons, they're going to go back and take a look at that.
That's the other thing about the opener. You've got, they've known since April that they're playing each other in the opener, and so it's basically 4 or 5 months of preparing.
Yeah, for one game.
Yeah.
For one game.
You can go back in the archives and get all the information you want on these guys. There's plenty of time all summer.
Though. You were right, though. I thought about it last night. We're so hyped up for Tampa. There's a lot of football to be played after that.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to get better. To come out and win this game, we will probably be so excited, you don't know what's going to happen afterwards.
You can't rest on your laurels after you win at Tampa Bay.
With a young team like this.
Just don't make the offense score 40 points to win.
That's it. Because now you're going back to the same pattern that you had last year.
Right. And if you can do that, then you give yourself a chance.
Okay, it is 2:51 Dallas time.
And you're still here, Bill.
I have to bail because I have to go I get to do a Zoom interview with Tyler Biadasz.
You have to. You know you hate to leave us.
I hate to leave you, but I'm doing a Zoom interview with Tyler Biadasz and Travis Frederick instead I have to go get set up for at 3 o'clock. So Mickey, the
Hopefully
cuts come down at 3
from
o'clock. How about? Can I do it right here?
Yeah, right. Do it as part of the show.
I got to go find a spot to do it from, and so 3 o'clock.
There's a big studio.
I'm going. That's where I'm headed right now. You have any question you like for me to pose to
Douglas's office?
Any question you like for me to pose to Biadasz or Frederick? Didn't mean to stump you.
You did. You're going to ask Biadasz about Frederick or Frederick about Biadasz?
Well, we're talking about the reason that we're doing this is
the 2 Wisconsin guys.
Tyler is, Travis has had the great Blocking Hunger charity that he's had, feeding children that need lunches and so forth. And so Tyler has basically taken that on, it's on the board now of the Blocking Hunger Foundation.
Nice.
So,
nice.
So that's the purpose of the interview.
Get a scouting report from Frederick on Biadasz.
That's a good idea. All right.
You better get a scouting report on Tampa's front line.
And that too.
Shoot. Are they ready?
I'm sure he's paying attention.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to take a break, and then it's Mickey's going to read the cuts to you coming up in a matter of moments.
Bye, Bill.
At Smoothie King, we are blending goodness to fuel your greatness. Every blend is crafted to help you achieve your health and fitness goals. Smoothie King uses only whole fruits and organic veggies. You'll never find sugary syrups or artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. And unlike some other smoothie places, there are 0 grams of added sugar in many of our blends. Smoothie King is proud to be the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys. Place your order in the app or online for pickup or delivery. Smoothie King, rule the day.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, It will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, yo quiero guacamole.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
Back to Mick Shots.
Does your Cowboys fandom go beyond the game? The NFL Fan of the Year contest presented by Captain Morgan is back, and we're launching the search for one extraordinary Cowboys fan who is a positive influence and inspires others through their love of the game. Nominate yourself or others for that chance to win a trip to Super Bowl 56 in Los Angeles. Nominate today at DallasCowboys.com/fan of the year as we continue
you
here.
are doing well.
How about that? Jeez. 2 clean reads.
Is it new glasses? That's what it is.
That must be it, right? I can see, right? 2 clean reads. All right, we continue on Mick Shots. Everson Walls joining myself, Mickey Spagnola here, and hopefully in 5 minutes the official cuts will come down. They're supposed to come down at 3 p.m. I think we've probably hit the majority of the moves, assuming they're all going to be official now.
And that was, what do you count, 15?
I counted, we mentioned 15 guys that looked like they were getting released, 4 more on the Cowboys COVID list, 2 more on PUP. So we're going to get what we look at as the 53-man roster for the next 24 hours. And then when they make the moves, likely moves to put guys on reserve IR, meaning recall, that you can come back after 3 games. I think there'll be some more moves there, and they could bring back some guys that they cut.
Before they bring back the guys that they cut, how many more moves do you think they have to make right now, aside from what we've already discussed?
They will have to make 4 more moves on Thursday when the COVID guys come back. And that's when they're expected to get back into practice. So then, who
you think they're eyeballing? I hate to put the samurai. Yeah, I hate to put the samurai on some.
That'll
people.
have to do with the guys at the kind of the end of the roster, right? Your last 4 or 5 guys.
So no veteran surprises. You think?
I don't think so. I think. They don't have many veterans that are expendable, right? If they were, then you would try to trade them and get something for them.
So the draft choices this year as well, including them.
I think.
Any surprises that you think?
I think. Well, we're going to get to probably the 5th round. Simi Fehoko. I don't know that if they can keep 6 receivers.
He caught a couple of passes. You could tell that Jags game was a proving game for him.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's got to prove himself.
So we'll see where.
Because we didn't see Brown.
Where that one
playing
goes,
at all that game, did we?
No, Noah Brown, and so and he's another guy that's he's a 1-year guy, but he's not vested, so somebody could claim him. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to think that we mentioned Farniak probably makes it as the 7th round pick. 6th round pick, Bohanna.
Yeah.
I would think he makes it.
You think he makes it?
Yeah.
He looked good to me, but, I just wasn't sure if he had enough time to prove himself.
Yeah, and he's young, so we'll see where that ends up going. One of the draft picks, Golston, we already mentioned. He's going to be remain on PUP. We mentioned Osa Odigizua.
Yeah.
So he's going to make it. And then the other guy, Mukwamu, actually stepped up and had a pretty nice game.
He did.
Making the transition from from corner to safety.
Yeah.
So, he got beat a couple times, but he made plays. So that's the key to me. Am I right?
No, you got to make a
corner,
play.
Safety.
We're going to get beat.
The quarterback throws for 5,000 yards, right?
Somebody's going to get beat, so you don't have to worry about that.
But you got to make a play. You got to show that you can do something, and so I would think, he has a pretty good chance. And then Nashawn Wright, the corner, he's gotten toasted a couple times.
Yes, he has.
But I think they like the possibilities, so maybe they don't want to, give up the rights to him.
Well, but except for, I think, this last game, I thought he was even more solid. Yeah, I thought he was even more solid than Joseph when you're looking at the plays that he made or didn't give up.
Right.
But this last game, he did show his vulnerability. It almost looked like, as a DB, you don't have time to have an off play. You don't have time to, my head wasn't in it this game. You just don't have time for that because they're going to find you. Burton was one of those guys the other night. They found him. Once they found him, a quarterback's going to come in the game. He's going to say, what is my best chance of making the play against this defense? I'm going to go against a guy that I just saw give up 2 passes, to the other quarterback in the previous series. And so once they realized that avenue was open, then Burton was a target. Then all of a sudden they found out that Wright was also, for this particular game, a target. And okay, well then this is my opportunity to make the team if I can make it on anybody. Trust me, Spags, 1981, everybody was like, you know what? There's my target right there, number 24. The guys from Grambling State University, that's going to be the one we're going to pick on. And so you have to be ready for that, Spags. You can't have a playoff. You can't look at every time the ball's in the air, as much as you might get beat, you better think that one of them's got to be yours.
Yeah.
At least one of them. When that's in the air, you can't have disbelief. You have to have confidence.
And they also went after Kelvin Joseph, too. A couple deep balls.
Yes, they did.
And that's kind of been his downfall, is getting beat on 9 routes.
And when you have a guy that can play as well as he can and who's got ball skills, this is the time to exhibit that. When the ball is in the air, you need to realize this is my time to show them how I play the ball. And you just didn't see that. And I wanted to see the young guys come out and take the Lawrence quarterbacking as a challenge. You see what I'm saying? That's what I wanted. I wanted to see them say, you know what? This guy's in my class. I'm going to show them why I was drafted. I'm going to show them why the Cowboys want me or need me. This is going to be against a guy that some of them actually played against in college.
And I thought Joe Witt was talking about Nashawn Wright from previous games, preseason games. And he says until, when they see a guy like that get beat on a 9 route, until you shut it down, it's coming back.
That's going to be your weakness,
right?
That's going to be the book on you.
They're going to test you to see if you can deal with it or not. And so we should be getting these. I don't see them on the website yet.
So that's what I was always concerned about, is how are our DBs going to react to a quarterback like Lawrence? And I got to say, I was disappointed.
Yeah.
Because I saw the same things I saw last year, the same inability to play the ball. You seemed witless when it came to finding the receiver himself. This guy's got the ball in his hands. You're still looking back to see if the ball's thrown. There's a clock in your head, Spags. It has to go off.
Right.
And it wasn't. They were doing well in practice. They were doing well in the early preseason games, of course, in college. But now this is the time to realize it's still the same not the same football, but the air is still the same. The leather's still the same. Just look for the ball, catch it after you cover your man. And they were close enough.
Right.
But when it came to making the play, they were not there. And so we can say, oh, man, he was in position. He was right there. We heard that crap all last year. We want to hear what a play he made on the ball. That's what we want to hear.
Exactly. And that's what I think you'll see more of that from Trayvon Diggs this year. I think he'll be more solid with his coverage, not get jumpy out there. And I think that's what happens.
You get impatient.
Yeah.
You do.
And you start
impatient.
like, okay, I got to go get this, right?
Yeah, because they keep running the ball. They might run like, man, I got to redeem myself. You might get blasted by a running back or a tight end or something. I got to redeem myself, because the film's always running. That's one thing you have to do, Spags, when you play. The film is running, right? So you don't want your teammates to see you giving up. You don't even want them to see you getting beat, but you want your attitude to be one of, okay, he gave that one up, but you can just look at his determination. This guy's going to come back and make a play. You didn't see that last year, and this last game, to me, that was the test. This is the stud, and this is the guy you want to play well against. And they didn't, Spags, not at all.
All right, we got the moves.
What you
now.
got? You got?
So
I hear it coming on, baby.
So here's the moves in order of how they're listed. Chauncey Golston passed his physical, so he's on the 53.
Oh, good.
We thought he was going on PUP, but he's on. Tristan Hill stays on PUP. TJ Vasher stays on NFI.
Okay.
Reserve COVID 19. Noah Brown is on it. That's why you might
That's
not
why
have
we
seen
didn't see him
on
in the
Sunday.
game.
Okay, here are the guys that are released, and these are veteran guys that I think are eligible to come back.
Okay.
Garrett Gilbert, Darian Thompson, Deontay Burton, Jake McQuaid, the long snapper. He's a 10-year veteran, so he's vested, right? So they basically told him, don't go anywhere.
Gotcha.
We'll re-sign you. As I predicted, Jeremy Sprinkle, who is a fifth-year guy, he got released, and defensive tackle Justin Hamilton. Now, I would imagine with Hamilton, when Neville Gallimore gets placed on reserve recall, IR recall, that he comes back. Now, the other guys that were released, Johnny Dixon, the wide receiver, Ben DiNucci, Osiris Mitchell, Reggie Davis, Aaron Parker, Stephen Parker, Brendan Knox, Jaquan Hardy, Tyler Coyle, Nick Ralston got released. Nick Eubanks, your tight end you asked for. Artavius Lynn, the tight end. Austin Falu, the defensive end. Isaac Alacon, but he'll come back. He's basically on the practice squad. Braylon Jones, Brandon Smith, and Rondell Carter. Mm-hmm. So really, the guys that were waived that have to go through waivers, I don't think there's any surprises there.
Rondell Carter.
He's another guy that they could. So you know what?
They should.
That means they kept
Bohannon?
Azur Kamara.
Oh, wow.
The kid from Nigeria?
Yes. They had the great story on him.
So
he that's the one got the sack that didn't count.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So he made it. I was trying to think of anybody else that surprisingly made it. So the guys that were released, 4-year guys or more, Garrett Gilbert, Darian Thompson, I heard already that at least comes back to the practice squad. Deontay Burton, who basically cut himself in that last preseason game. Jake McQuaid, the long snapper, he'll be a guy that ends up coming back when they put somebody on reserve injured return. Eric Smith, the offensive tackle. So they kept Brandon Knight, Terrence Steele, and Ty Nasecki.
They got better as the game went on.
And Farniak, as we suggested. So those, and let's see, those are the backups that we can talk about. Jeremy Sprinkle, chances he comes back when McEwen ends up
waiting to hear
on
one more
recall.
name.
And then Justin Hamilton.
No Rondell Carter.
Rondell Carter.
I thought he did well.
He was waived. He has a chance to come back, I would think.
Yeah.
Because they've got to make the move. So that means
he caused the interception, if I'm not mistaken.
They kept all those guys that were injured. Neville Gallimore, Sean McEwen, Francis Bernard, Terrell Basham, Josh Ball, Kelvin Joseph, and Malik Turner, the wide receiver. So we should see some of those guys
and you said Hooker is okay.
Yeah. And so Hooker's on. It says reserve COVID, and they only got one guy on there. So they must have put the other 4 guys back on the roster because it doesn't say he was added. So there's probably at least 3 or 4 more moves that they have to make.
And they have until Thursday?
No, they can, as of 24 hours. So tomorrow at 3 p.m. when they can put these guys on reserve, injured, recall, which means they have to miss the 3 games. Mm-hmm. Then after those guys get moved, then you can sign guys back.
Oh, that's when you spoke of Thursday.
Yeah, no, Thursday was the COVID thing. Today's Tuesday,
okay.
So Wednesday they can bring some guys back, and you can start signing your practice squad. So to me, if everybody clears waivers, they can have 2 quarterbacks on the practice squad if they want. 1 quarterback on the practice squad, Rush is your backup.
We talked about the kickers,
right? And then they're short at running back, with basically cutting Walston. Then all you have is Zeke and Tony Pollard, and you probably need something there. And I would imagine what they do is look at the waiver wire now. Mm-hmm. Is there another young guy that I like better than the young guys I had on the roster? Because some guys that you scouted in the draft, got cut.
Yeah.
You know about them. You just didn't get them.
They might have signed you with someone else first.
Right. Or you didn't draft them, or you didn't get the chance to sign them in free agency. So, there's still some more moves to be made, but that's what happened today. You can go to DallasCowboys.com. They'll all be listed there, and then stay with us for sure tomorrow when some other moves are likely to be made. So for Bill Jones, Everson Walls, I'm Mickey Spagnola, and that's Mick Shots for this Tuesday on DallasCowboys.com.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?